You've been eating eggs your whole life. But I want to tell you something that surprised even me. The way most of us were taught to eat eggs might actually be working against us now that we're older. Not because eggs are bad. Eggs are wonderful, but a few simple habits, things we do without even thinking, can quietly cause real problems after 60. And today, I'm going to walk you through every single one. I'm Grace. I'm 91 years old, and I still live in my own home, cook my own meals, and take care of myself. Eggs have been part of my breakfast for as long as I can remember, and over the years, I've learned a few things the hard way, and a few things from my doctor that I wish someone had told me sooner. So today, I'm going to share what I know. By the time we're done, you'll know exactly which eat habits to keep, which ones to quietly let go of, and how to make this simple food work better for your body right now, at this stage of your life. Stick with me, because near the end, I'm going to share the one thing most people over 70 get completely wrong about eggs. And it has nothing to do with cholesterol. I think it's going to surprise you. Why eggs matter more after 60. Before we get into the mistakes, I want to take just a moment to talk about why eggs are so important for people our age, because they truly are. As we get older, our bodies change. And one of the biggest changes is that we start losing muscle. Not because we're lazy, not because we did anything wrong. It just happens. It's part of getting older, and it starts earlier than most people think. Some research suggests it can begin in our 50s. Losing muscle makes everything harder. It makes it harder to walk, to get up from a chair, to carry groceries, to stay balanced. And losing muscle is one of the main reasons older adults start to feel fragile or unsteady. Here's the good news. Protein helps us hold on to our muscle. And eggs are one of the best sources of protein you can find. Not just any protein either. What's called complete protein, which means it has all the building blocks our bodies need. And eggs are easy to chew, easy to digest, and easy to cook. At my age, that matters. One egg has about 6 grams of protein. That might not sound like a lot, but for a small, inexpensive food you can make in 5 minutes, that's remarkable. Eggs also have something called leucine. That's an amino acid, which is just a fancy way of saying one of those building blocks I mentioned. And leucine is particularly good at helping older muscles stay strong. So eggs are your friend. I want you to know that going in, we're not here to scare you away from eggs. We're here to help you eat them smarter. Now, let's talk about the mistakes. Mistake number 1, eating too few eggs or skipping them altogether. For decades, we were told to be afraid of eggs, limit them, avoid the yolk, keep it to 2 or 3 a week. And many of us listened. I listened. For years, I ate egg whites only and felt very virtuous about it. But the science has moved on. And what doctors now understand is quite different from what we were taught 30 years ago. For most healthy people, especially people over 60, eating 1 egg a day or even 2 is perfectly safe. The cholesterol in eggs does not raise the harmful type of cholesterol in your blood the way we once believed. That old fear was based on research that turned out to be incomplete. Now I want to be careful here because this is important. If you have diabetes or heart disease or very high cholesterol, your situation may be different. Please talk to your doctor about how many eggs are right for you specifically. That conversation is worth having. But for many people our age, the bigger mistake isn't eating too many eggs. It's eating too few or cutting them out entirely out of habit and old fear. If you've been avoiding eggs for years, I want you to gently reconsider that. Have a conversation with your doctor. Ask them, is there any reason I can't have an egg a day? You might be pleasantly surprised by the answer. The small win here is this. If you've been eating only egg whites, try eating the whole egg again. The yolk is where so much of the nutrition lives. Vitamin D, vitamin B12, choline, lutein. These are things our bodies need more of as we age, not less. Start with one whole egg a few times a week. See how you feel. There's no rush. Mistake number 2, not eating enough protein at breakfast. This one is connected to the first, but it goes a little deeper. So stay with me. Most of us, when we were younger, could get away with a light breakfast, a piece of toast, a bowl of cereal, maybe just coffee. And we were fine. But after 60, our muscles become less efficient at using protein. I know that sounds complicated, but here's what it means in plain words. Your body needs more protein than it used to, and it needs that protein spread throughout the day. Here's the mistake a lot of us make. We eat very little protein at breakfast, a little more at lunch, and then most of our protein at dinner, a big chicken breast or a piece of fish in the evening. The problem is that your muscles can only use so much protein at one time. Whatever's left over doesn't get stored for later. It just gets used for energy or passed out of the body. So, if you're eating most of your protein at one meal, you're not getting the full benefit. Eggs at breakfast fix this beautifully. Research suggests that older adults may benefit from getting somewhere around 25 to 30 grams of protein at breakfast. That sounds like a lot, I know. But 2 or 3 eggs already gets you 12 to 18 grams. Add a little Greek yogurt on the side or a small piece of whole grain toast with some nut butter, and you're in a very good range. I want to tell you what I do most mornings. I scramble 2 eggs in a small pan with just a tiny bit of olive oil. I add a small handful of spinach. Just toss it right in. It wilts in about 30 seconds. Sometimes I add a little cheese on top. It takes me maybe 8 minutes from start to finish. That breakfast keeps me full for hours. It keeps my energy steady. And it means my muscles are getting what they need early in the day. If you're currently skipping breakfast or eating something with very little protein, I want you to try adding eggs for just 1 week and notice how you feel. I think you'll be amazed. Mistake number 3, storing and handling eggs unsafely. Now I want to talk about something that doesn't get mentioned enough when people talk about eggs, and that's food safety. Because as we get older, this matters more than it ever did before. Here's something your body goes through as you age. Your immune system becomes a little less powerful. It's still working. It's still protecting you, but it doesn't bounce back from foodborne illness quite as quickly as it used to. A stomach bug that would have knocked you down for a day at age 40 might put you in the hospital at age 75. And eggs, if handled incorrectly, can carry bacteria called salmonella. Most people know that word, but not everyone knows the simple steps to stay safe. Let me go through them with you one by one. First, always refrigerate your eggs. Keep them in the refrigerator, at or below 40 degrees Fahrenheit. If you see eggs sitting out at a friend's house or even at a market, don't assume they're safe to leave out. Here in the United States, eggs are washed before they're sold, which removes the protective coating on the shell. That means they must be kept cold. Second, keep your eggs in their original carton. I know it's tempting to use those pretty little egg holders that fit right in the refrigerator door. But the door is actually the warmest part of the refrigerator, and it gets jostled every time you open and close it. The carton also has the expiration date right on it, which brings me to my next point. Third, check that date. Most eggs are safe to eat 3 to 5 weeks after purchase if they've been properly refrigerated. But if you're not sure how long they've been sitting there, here's a simple trick I've used for years. Fill a bowl or glass with cold water and gently place an egg in it. If the egg sinks to the bottom and lies flat on its side, it's fresh. If it sinks but stands up on one end, it's still safe. But getting older, use it soon. If it floats, throw it out. A floating egg has too much air inside, which means bacteria may have gotten in. Don't even crack it open to check. Just let it go. Fourth, and this is a big one, wash your hands before and after you handle raw eggs, even if the shell looks perfectly clean. Bacteria can live on the outside of a shell without you being able to see it. Fifth, don't use cracked or damaged eggs. If you crack open a carton at the store and find a broken egg, swap it for another carton. At home, if you crack an egg on the counter and the shell gets into the bowl, try to remove it carefully. But if an egg smells off in any way, sour, like sulfur, strange, throw it out without tasting it. Please, it's not worth it. These steps are simple, and you're probably already doing some of them. But I want to make sure you're doing all of them because keeping yourself safe in the kitchen is just as important as any other part of taking care of your health. Let's pause for just a moment. We're about halfway through, and I want to ask you something. Is there one thing you've heard so far that surprised you, or something you realize you've been doing differently? I'd love to know. Leave me a comment below. Just tell me which mistake stood out to you. And if this kind of practical health information for people our age is something you find helpful, I hope you'll subscribe. I put out a new video every week, and every one of them is written with you in mind. Not for young people, not for athletes, for people like us who want to keep living well and independently for as long as possible. Now, let's keep going, because we have a few more mistakes to cover, and the most surprising one is still coming. Mistake number 4. Cooking eggs in ways that destroy the nutrition. This one was news to me when I first learned it, and I think it might be for you too. Eggs are nutritious, but how you cook them affects how much nutrition you actually absorb. Let me start with the heat question. High heat can damage some of the proteins and vitamins in eggs. Not completely. Eggs are still healthy no matter how you cook them. But gentler cooking methods tend to preserve more of the good stuff. Scrambled eggs cooked low and slow on the stove are more nutritious than scrambled eggs cooked on high heat until they're rubbery and dry. Poached eggs, soft-boiled eggs, gently fried eggs. These tend to hold onto more of their nutrients than eggs that get cooked very hard for a long time. Now, I know some of you will say, but Grace, I like my eggs well done. And that's fine. You're still getting plenty of nutrition from a fully cooked egg. We're talking about optimization here, not a dramatic difference. But here's something more important, especially for anyone over 60 who takes medications or has a sensitive stomach. What you cook your eggs in matters. If you are frying eggs in a lot of butter or oil, you are adding a significant amount of saturated fat to an otherwise very lean food. For people with heart conditions, high blood pressure, or high cholesterol, this adds up over time. A small amount of olive oil, just a light coating of the pan, is a much better choice. Olive oil has healthy fats that are actually good for your heart. Or you can use a non-stick pan with just a little cooking spray. Or poach your eggs in water, which needs no fat at all. I also want to mention something about sodium. Many people salt their eggs generously, either during cooking or at the table. And for people our age, especially those managing blood pressure, too much sodium can be a real concern. Try seasoning your eggs with herbs instead. A little black pepper, some fresh chives, a pinch of paprika, a few flakes of dried basil. These add beautiful flavor without any of the sodium concerns. I started doing this a few years ago, and I genuinely prefer it now. Here's another cooking tip that's specifically for older adults. Egg whites that are completely raw are actually harder for your body to digest and absorb. I know some people put raw eggs in smoothies or other drinks. I'd encourage you to skip that. Cooked eggs, even lightly cooked, are absorbed much more efficiently by the body than raw ones. You're getting far more of that valuable protein when the egg is cooked. So the small win here is this. Try cooking your eggs a little more gently this week. Lower the heat. Give them a little more time. Add a drizzle of olive oil instead of a big pat of butter. And skip the salt shaker. Try some fresh herbs instead. Little changes, real results. Mistake number 5. Eating eggs with the wrong foods. Now this one surprised me because I always thought an egg is an egg. What does it matter what you eat alongside it? But it turns out what you pair with your eggs can either boost the nutrition or partially cancel it out. Let me give you the good news first. Eggs are rich in fat-soluble vitamins. That means vitamins that your body can only absorb if there's some fat present. Vitamin D, vitamin A, vitamin E, eggs have all of these. And because eggs already have healthy fat in the yolk, eating the whole egg helps your body absorb these vitamins all on its own. That's another reason the whole egg is better than just the white. But here's where the pairing matters. If you're eating eggs with vegetables, which I highly encourage, adding a small amount of healthy fat alongside the vegetables helps your body absorb the vitamins in those vegetables too. So, a little olive oil in the pan when you saute spinach with your eggs is actually a very smart combination. The fat from the egg and the olive oil helps you absorb the nutrients from the spinach more completely. Now, here's what to be more careful about. If you're taking iron supplements, or if your doctor has told you that you need more iron, be aware that eggs contain a substance that can slightly reduce iron absorption. It's not a reason to avoid eggs, not at all. But if iron is a concern for you, it's worth mentioning to your doctor so they can advise you on timing. Also, watch what comes with your eggs at the breakfast table. A plate of eggs is excellent, but eggs alongside processed meat like bacon, sausage, or ham every single day adds a lot of sodium and saturated fat that your heart doesn't need. Once in a while, perfectly fine. I'm not here to take all the joy out of breakfast. But as a daily habit, those highly processed meats are worth limiting, especially after 60. Instead, try eggs with vegetables, eggs with whole grain toast, eggs with a small piece of smoked salmon, which gives you protein and healthy omega-3 fats all at once, eggs with sliced avocado, eggs with a handful of cherry tomatoes on the side. These combinations are genuinely delicious, and they work with your body, not against it. Mistake number 6, ignoring what your body is telling you. I want to talk about this one gently because it's personal. Some people over 60 have developed sensitivities to eggs that they may not even be aware of. This is different from a serious egg allergy, which is usually obvious and dramatic. I'm talking about something quieter. A low-level sensitivity that causes things like bloating, gas, feeling a bit off after breakfast, or a vague stomach discomfort that you've just gotten used to over the years. These symptoms are easy to dismiss. We think, well, I'm older. I just feel this way sometimes. But sometimes those feelings are your body trying to tell you something specific. If you regularly feel uncomfortable after eating eggs, it's worth paying attention to that. Keep a simple note on a piece of paper, not anything complicated, just Monday, had 2 eggs for breakfast, felt fine. Or Tuesday, had eggs, stomach felt unsettled by 10 in the morning. Do that for 2 weeks. If there's a clear pattern, bring that paper to your doctor. It's a very easy conversation to have, and there may be something simple they can suggest. I also want to mention egg preparation in this context. Sometimes it's not the egg itself causing discomfort, it's how it's cooked. Very rich preparations, lots of butter or cream, heavy cheese. These can cause digestive upset in people whose digestion has become more sensitive with age. Simplifying the preparation sometimes solves the problem entirely. And if you take medications in the morning, which many of us do, it's worth asking your pharmacist or doctor whether any of your medications interact with food in ways that might make eggs less comfortable on your stomach. This is not common, but it does happen. And your pharmacist is a wonderful resource for exactly this kind of question. Listen to your body. At our age, it knows what it needs and it knows what it doesn't. Our job is to pay attention. Now, the thing I promised you at the beginning. I told you near the start that I was going to share the one thing most people over 70 get completely wrong about eggs, and it has nothing to do with cholesterol. Here it is. Most people over 70 are not eating enough eggs overall. And when they do eat them, they're not eating enough protein at that same meal to actually trigger what's called muscle protein synthesis. That's just a scientific way of saying making your muscles stronger and preserving what you have. Research on older adults has found something very specific. After about the age of 65 or 70, muscles become what scientists call resistant to protein. They don't respond as easily as they once did. To actually get the muscle-building benefit of protein, older adults need a higher amount at each meal than younger people do. While a young person might maintain muscle on 20 grams of protein at breakfast, a person over 70 may need 25 to 30 grams at that same meal to get the same effect. 2 eggs alone gives you about 12 grams of protein. That's a good start, but it's not quite enough on its own to hit that threshold. So, the mistake, the one most people don't know about, is eating 2 eggs for breakfast and thinking that's sufficient, when actually your body needs you to pair those eggs with another protein source to truly protect your muscle mass. This doesn't have to be complicated. Here are some easy ways to boost the protein at your egg breakfast. Add a small container of plain Greek yogurt on the side. That can add 10 to 17 grams of protein depending on the brand. And it also gives you calcium, which is wonderful for our bones. Add a small handful of cottage cheese. Cottage cheese has had a real comeback lately, and for good reason. It's high in protein, easy to eat, and very gentle on digestion. Add a slice or 2 of smoked salmon. Salmon gives you protein, plus those heart-healthy omega-3 fats. A small amount goes a long way. Add a tablespoon of hemp seeds sprinkled on top of your eggs or on your toast. It sounds unusual, I know, but hemp seeds are tasteless, they mix right in, and they add 3 grams of complete protein per tablespoon. Mix in a little bit of cheese while you scramble your eggs. Even 1 ounce of cheddar adds about 7 grams of protein. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is getting close to that 25 to 30 gram range at breakfast a few times a week. And eggs are your anchor. You build everything else around them. This is the thing that changed my mornings. Once I started making sure my egg breakfast had enough total protein, not just eggs alone, I noticed I had more energy through the morning. I stayed full longer. And my doctor was very pleased with my muscle health at my last checkup. I'm 91 and I'm still walking on my own, cooking on my own, making these videos for you. I believe what I eat is a big part of that. Let's quickly recap everything we covered. Today, I know that was a lot of information, and I want to make sure you leave here with the key points clear in your mind. Mistake 1. Eating too few eggs out of old fear. For most of us, 1 egg a day, whole egg, yolk and all, is perfectly fine. Talk to your doctor if you're not sure. Mistake 2. Not enough protein at breakfast. Use eggs as your anchor and build your breakfast up to 25 to 30 grams of total protein. Your muscles will thank you. Mistake 3. Unsafe storage and handling. Keep eggs refrigerated in their carton. Use the water test if you're unsure of freshness. Wash hands, skip cracked eggs, and never eat anything that smells off. Mistake 4. Cooking methods that harm nutrition or add too much unhealthy fat. Cook low and slow. Use olive oil instead of lots of butter. Season with herbs instead of salt. Mistake 5. Wrong food pairings. Eggs love vegetables, healthy fats, and whole grains. Be cautious with processed meats every day. Eat the whole egg to help absorb fat-soluble vitamins. Mistake 6. Ignoring your body's signals. If eggs don't agree with you, pay attention to when and how and try to identify the pattern. Share it with your doctor. And the big payoff. Pair your eggs with additional protein at breakfast to hit that 25 to 30 gram range. That's the thing most people over 70 are missing, and it matters more than almost anything else. Before you go, I want to say something to you sincerely. Taking care of yourself at this stage of life is not always easy. There's a lot of conflicting information out there. Things change. What we were told 20 years ago is different from what we know today, and it can feel confusing and sometimes discouraging. But you're here. You watched this whole video. You're paying attention. You're asking questions, and you're trying to do right by your body. That matters so much. I am genuinely proud of you for that. You can absolutely do this, one small change at a time. There's no rush. Just start with one thing from today's video, whichever one felt most relevant to your life, and try it this week, just one. And if you found this helpful today, please do leave a comment. Tell me which mistake surprised you most, or which tip you plan to try. I read every single comment, and I love hearing from you. It truly makes my day. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you will. Every week, I put out a video just like this one. Practical, honest, real information for living well after 60. No fads, no gimmicks. Just what actually works. Now, next week, I'm going to talk about something that affects almost every person over 60, and most people don't even realize it's happening to them. It's about a change in how our bodies process certain nutrients as we age, and the simple, inexpensive things you can do to make sure you're not quietly running low. I think it's going to be one of the most important videos I've made. I'll see you then, dear friend. Take good care of yourself this week. And don't forget, a good egg breakfast is a wonderful way to start.